Hello everybody, this is Gina Bear reporting to you for duty, and today we are going to talk about what it's like living in South Korea.
Take off.
Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gina. I've been an expat abroad for the last 7 years. I've spent time in Korea, Japan, so if you like stuff with life, travel, love, etc. abroad, please be sure that you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and follow me on Instagram because that's where all the good stuff goes down. One of the most frequently asked questions that I get on a lot of my socials is, what's it like living in South Korea? And for the longest time, I didn't know how to answer that question because I'm like, are you asking me in relationship to your own country as an American perspective? Finally, I have a well thought out answer for you. So if anybody ever asks me again, you can just direct them to this video. And also, if you guys want some more nitty-gritty details, I am going to throw up a card right now. I go into a lot more detail on my blog, so this is just a quick 411 rundown, so let's get into it. Now, this is me comparing American culture to Korean culture in general. Now, one of the things I noticed about Korean culture is that people here don't really hang out at each other's houses. Most people go out to clubs or bars or cafes. Here, there's a huge cafe culture here in South Korea, and people don't really do house parties the way we do in the United States. If people want to have a party, a private party, they rent out a space and then they invite people to this party. Because when I was in America, we all used to get together at somebody's house, bring your own booze, you get a fire going, you make some s'mores, you laugh, you talk, you drink. That's the culture, and here in South Korea it's not really like that. Also in South Korea, age is literally everything here. If you are older than the person you're speaking to, people, they really, address you differently, they talk to you a different way. Also, it depends on what your job is, how people also talk to you as well. A good way of showing the age hierarchical culture here is if you go out to eat with your coworkers, and then the oldest person there should probably start eating and drinking first before you start eating and drinking. It's just polite, it's just how it works here. Also, I noticed that as Americans, we are a little bit more direct. Being direct as Americans means if you're not doing something with your job properly, chances are somebody's gonna be you need to do it like this, you're not making quota, and you need to change up your shit. But in Korea, there's a really big culture of saving face, and this means not wanting to cause another person embarrassment, so they'll just sweep the problem under the rug, or they'll just try to let it go entirely. Now, this saving face culture is to avoid disharmony in the workplace, which is why I highly encourage you, if you're an American, to pick and choose your battles wisely, because some things are just better off, just dropping them. So next we're going to talk about the food. So as you guys know, I'm half Mexican, half Italian, so I grew up eating a lot of really rich Italian foods with pastas and carbonaras and stuff like that. And of course, eating Mexican food because my mom is Mexican, and my mom is also such an amazing cook. I miss my mom's food, okay? Obviously, you guys know I like Korean food. I don't have a problem with it. But actually, these days I'm steering away from Korean food because I feel a lot of it has a lot of sugar in it to take down the spiciness, and that kind of hurts my stomach. So unless I make my food at home, it doesn't really agree with me. And also, in America, eating out is super expensive and eating in is super cheap because we buy our groceries in bulk, or we buy it from Walmart or stuff like that, and it's cheaper, to cook inside than it is to go out. And actually in Korea, it's cheaper to go out and eat than it is to cook food in your house, but that also depends on you and your situation. Now, next we're going to talk about public transport, because this is one of the most frequently asked questions I get. Now, public transport here in Korea is super duper cheap. If you get on the train or if you get on the bus, starting fare is 1,250 won. You really don't need a car because public transportation is pretty efficient. You have apps that tell you when and what time the buses and the trains are coming. Literally, there's no need for a car. I can go from one end of the city to the other and back for less than $5. So I'm yes, winning. But in Chicago, public transport can get pretty pricey, and you know, you gotta get like passes and stuff like that. So that's one big major difference. Alright, so next we'll talk about the fashion. I personally, and this is just my opinion, don't come at me with like your guns blazing saying like how dare I. This is just my opinion. I personally do not like the fashion here in South Korea because South Korea is so homogenous and everybody wants to fit in and not be excluded. And it's also, I notice, like a very Asian mindset as well. People tend to wear the same things. So I notice a lot of the guys have similar haircuts. A lot of the people here wear similar eyeglasses. A lot of the girls, like one year when Twice came out with the little cheerleader skirts, they were all wearing the cheerleader skirts one summer. Like everybody has those long padded jackets, you know, that go down to your ankles for winter time. As you guys know, I am plus size. I wear US size 12, and the whole like super like boxy tops that like cover, you know, your shoulders up to here, and the super duper short skirts do not look good on me whatsoever. Like, I feel they don't suit my body type. I feel like I look really fat and ugly if I try and dress the way they do here. So I typically just don't wear Korean fashion. I miss the fashion in America because there's a lot more unique pieces, there's a lot more size options, you know, people are being more inclusive these days. So that's just my opinion on the fashion and like one of the really big differences I've noticed. Now on beauty, so a lot of you guys might be curious about like Korean beauty techniques. For me, I personally like all the advancements that Koreans have made in beauty, and I noticed that like Koreans are so obsessed with making their skin so beautiful, which is good, whereas like in America, more women, you know, put money to getting their nails done. They don't really put much emphasis like on keeping their skin youthful and supple, so that's another thing that I noticed. And like legit girlfriend, I have been to the WHOO spa here in South Korea, and celebrities even go there and they use like all these magic potions and lotions, and like you come out and your skin just glows like you are a newborn baby. Like seriously, I love Korean facials. I love getting the aqua peels here. So if you guys are interested actually in going to the WHOO spa, I 100% super duper duper recommend them. I will leave a link in the description box below. So if you guys want to go to the WHOO spa, click on that link. Now, here's the dating section. I'm sure y'all have been waiting for this. For me, dating in Korea and dating in America are two completely different things. Like, one of the big differences I notice is like here in Korea, like couples within like a week or 1 or 2 days are being like, I love you, so. But in America, when we date somebody, we don't really say I love you unless we super truly mean it. So that's one big difference that I noticed between like dating cultures. And of course in Korea, I'm sure y'all heard by now, but Korean couples do like the whole matching outfits thing. And in America, you would never catch a couple dead doing that. We think it's so cheesy, so ew. Like, I've never seen couples do that in America. And if they do, they get so much shit from their family and friends. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about friendship. Now, when I was in America, like, I was definitely a social butterfly. I went to all of the parties, I knew all the people, and my giant list in my phone of contacts definitely proved it. Sometimes I didn't remember, like, where I met some of these people. I'm like, ooh, girl, like, yeah, stop drinking so much. But that's a story for another day. It was really easy for me to make friends, you know, especially since I met so many people all the time. And if I did want to date somebody, it was also easier for me to do that because I was meeting a lot of people. And also when it comes to making like Korean friends, you have to be careful because sometimes Koreans will use you and just for like English lessons, or they'll be like, hey, this is my foreign friend, and then they'll like ghost and you'll be like, where did my friend go? Now, a lot of people also ask me about the cost of living in South Korea. Like I said before, it's relatively cheap for me to live here. My housing is covered. I make a pretty decent salary. Going to the grocery store isn't that expensive because I just like buy vegetables, and of course they're a little bit more expensive than when I lived in America, but whatever, they're really fresh here in South Korea. One of the things that is quite different from America and Korea is the fact that here in Korea you have to put a large sum of key money down for an apartment. That would probably make the cost of living in Korea expensive, but that's the only thing that I can think of because cars are cheap to buy here. Gas, not so much, but I mean, in general, things are a lot cheaper than they would be in America, especially in Chicago, where I come from. It's one of the most expensive cities to live in. Let's talk about the healthcare. Now, one of the things I really love about South Korea is that, you know, they have healthcare for everybody in the country. If I'm sick, I can go to the doctor, no problem. But of course, in America, you have to have private health insurance, and even with health insurance, it still costs a lot of money. Like recently, my bestie Hugo, he was telling me how his cousin had to go to the ER for a really bad sprain, and all they did was give her an x-ray, pain medication, and a brace, and they charged her $5,000. I'm like, $5,000? I'm like, are you kidding me? If that happened to me in Korea, it would literally be less than $100, if that. So living in Korea gives me that peace of mind as compared to America. So also another thing that's very different compared from Chicago to Korea is the low crime rate. In Korea, I can leave all of my belongings on the table, my laptop, my purse, my phone, and nobody's going to take it. There's CCTVs everywhere, and people generally don't touch things that don't belong to them. In Chicago, if I turned my back, it'd be gone like that. For the most part, I can walk around no problem here in South Korea late at night. Nobody's gonna bother me, except in some areas. I live in the ghetto, so I always have creepy old men who bother me, but that's also a story for another day. If you guys want to know about that, I will leave a card up here about my biggest struggles in Korea. But like in Chicago, legit, you would never catch me dead walking on the streets past midnight. If I was doing that, I would be with my male friends, I would be in a car, I would be in a well-lit area. Like, I would never, ever walk around late at night in Chicago. And also, Chicago has a pretty high crime rate because people are shooting each other up all the time. I know the stats, and it's pretty bad. I love Chicago, I love my city. Don't take the fact that people are getting shot up in the projects to represent all of Chicago. Alright, that being said, what do I miss about America? So one of the things of course that I miss about America is my family, and I also miss the wide variety of foods that I get to eat, the large amount of vegan and vegetarian options that are available to a lot of Americans these days. Of course, I miss the fashion in America because there's more to choose from and there are more unique pieces. I especially miss America like around the autumn and the winter, because in autumn I had so much fun. I used to go like pumpkin picking. I loved the pumpkin spice lattes from Starbucks, #basic. I love spooky hay rides during Halloween. I like going to farms and picking apples. I really love the cute like autumn clothing. And this is truly my American side coming out here. But what's the thing I miss most of all? To be honest, clean air, because the air here is so bad. Now, in conclusion, again, let me tell you, my experiences do not speak for everybody here who is an expat in South Korea. This is just me on my little corner of the internet sharing my thoughts, my observations, my life in Korea with you guys. And I hope that this video helped you gain, I guess, an insight into what it's like living in South Korea from my American perspective. And that's it for this video today. If you like this video and you'd like to see more videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit that notification bell, and follow me on Instagram because that's where all the good stuff goes down. And I will talk to y'all lovelies later. Gina Bear, signing out.
Just tell me where you wanna go. Let me take you there. You see, I've been around the globe. I've seen a lot, babe. But I wanna see what's